and car rental, big game Friday night. Hello, Alabama, find a comfortable spot. We got high school football and it's coming out hot. Now here we are and the lights are shining bright. It's always been, yeah, WAAY 31 is rocking all right.
Big game Friday night. Max Cohan, Trevor Denton.
It's the McCurry van and car rental. Big game Friday night.
It's a battle of undefeated squads in Morgan County. West Morgan and Priceville battled to stay out of the loss column in our big game Friday night game of the week.
All right, out at Hazel Green, the 64th Cotton Classic, the Trojans and Bucks meeting in an old school Madison County showdown. You bet that's our rivalry game of the week.
Hello and welcome into the Week 3 edition of Big Game Friday Night. As always, I'm Max Cohan and he's Trevor Denton. As of tonight, some area teams have already played 3 region games, giving us a look at who might be heading to the playoffs and which squads are probably already looking ahead to next season.
With only 4 teams per region playing extra games, just a couple of early losses could be the difference between playing games in November or getting that Christmas shopping started early. But the biggest game of the night wasn't actually a battle in a region.
Yeah, instead, just 2 3-0 squads, West Morgan and Priceville. Head coaches Drew Phillips and Seth Parker used to coach together at Athens, but tonight both were just trying to get their team to 4-0. Out at Priceville Elementary School, the Rebels and Bulldogs meet again. Last season, West Morgan dominated 48-zip, but things were different tonight. Scoreless in the first, Tylen Partlow takes the high snap and finds Tayshawn McDaniel, but he gets swarmed and the ball's on the ground. What do dogs do with balls? They take them. Priceville takes over with the fumble recovery. Then the dogs get moving. Colton Madewell might have put dish soap on his jersey because this guy's slippery, making the defense look foolish on this long run, but Priceville would not come away with any points that time. Then the action stopped for a while when West Morgan's Cole Thorne was injured. The teams prayed while he was loaded into an ambulance, giving us the thumbs up as they rolled him in. But believe it or not, these high-scoring teams went into the break without a single point on the board, but of course it wouldn't end that way. West Morgan took an 8-7 lead late in the fourth. Priceville had a chance to go in front with a field goal, but they missed the 41-yard attempt, and the Rebels hang on to win a thriller, 8-7.
It's one of those games where both teams played extremely hard. Hats off to them for, the energy and the effort, and we didn't play good at all, but they had a lot to do with that. But I'm very proud of our guys finding a way to win. At the end of the day, it's a W on the record books, and that's a big deal. So what a non-region football game that was.
Man, the Rebels just look absolutely unstoppable right now. What Coach Phillips has done with that program, incredible.
Old school football there, 8-7, punch you in the mouth type of game. Incredible game there. And speaking of impressive, the Bob Jones Patriots are off to their best start since 2015. Tonight, Kelvis White's squad welcoming Grissom to Madison City Stadium. The Patriots have dominated the Tigers lately, winning their last 4 matchups. Quarterback Jacoby Gill continues to thrill. Late second, he drops back, fires one out to the corner of the end zone. Look at the toe tap by Christopher Catarina. Catarina like a ballerina with the fancy footwork there. I think that one's even good in the NFL. The Patriots go up 3 touchdowns with the impressive score. Now on defense, time for your weekly dose of Romeo Washington. So tough to run to the edge on these guys as Washington and Cameron Ashley collab for the TFL. And no letdown week after that emotional and huge Madison Bowl victory. Bob Jones wins again, 42-0.
Speaking of teams with strong starts, Jimmy Gay has Huntsville 3-0 for the second straight year, but last year they followed that up with 3 straight losses, the first one coming against the team they played tonight, James Clemens. The Jets trying to rebound after an ugly loss in the Madison Bowl, and defense was the story early on. Wyatt Smith back to pass, and Huntsville's quarterback is smothered by Nathan Holmes, forcing the Panthers to punt, and the Jets would turn that into 3 points. Christian Pena, new boot goofing, and Juan Johnson is liking the early lead, but that smile would only grow in size. Huntsville back on the attack, and Smith's pass is picked off by Mason Rose. No one's going to catch the speedy senior as the Jets take a 10-point lead with the pick 6. But football's great because you always get a chance at redemption, and Smith would make up for his mistake on the next drive. Looking long again, the senior has Flash Ellison in front of the defenders, and he won't hit the ground until he's in for 6, a massive touchdown. But for the 8th consecutive season, the Jets beat the Panthers 31-14.
Florence started 0-2 but beat up on Albertville last week. Today they went on the road to Austin. The Falcons move it down the field, but then they face a big fourth down. The Black Bears rise to the occasion and pounce all over the Birds for a huge stop in the first. Now it's Kadir Lyle's turn to cook on offense. They call a read option. He gets that defensive end to bite, and now he's off to the races for a big Austin first down. Jeremy Perkins calls Lyle a true dual-threat quarterback. Here's the other threat he has. World of time from the O-line. Then he launches one over the middle to Jamichael Taylor. Number 11 gets them exactly to the 11-yard line. Now all they got to do is punch it in from there. Aiden Davis jukes out the defender, then transports the football to its desired destination. Austin wins 34-6. In 6A Region 7, a few teams trending in opposite directions. Muscle Shoals 3-0, continuing to pick up momentum. Decatur 0-3 with a tough road ahead. And tonight, these two met out in the Shoals. Scott Baisden's Trojans have won every meeting against the Red Raiders dating back to 2017, and this team not in the mood to see any streaks broken tonight. The only time Jashad Samples gets hit is on the chest bump after the touchdown. The Trojans' special teams were special tonight. Ensuing kickoff, future Arkansas Razorback Keve Foster flies down for the tackle. Gotta love a starter making a play on the kickoff team. Decatur now forced to punt. Now Tylen Smith gets a piece of it. You've heard of Beamer ball. This is Baisden ball with the special teams wondery there, and there are ballers all over this team. Davian Reynolds punches it in. Then we got a nominee for Defensive Play of the Week. Christian Pritchard leaps high to make the interception. He almost goes all the way. Can't quite beat that last line of defense, but nothing really stopping Muscle Shoals overall today as they win 66-0. Over on Garth Road, the Randolph Raiders have made the playoffs 5 straight seasons, but David Lloyd's team has not won a game yet this year. Shocking.
I know, and tonight they hosted Westminster Christian, a squad that they dominated last season. Louis LeBlanc's teams have also been regulars in the playoffs, but they were down 7-0 in the second quarter. Randolph facing a 4th and 12 at the 24, and they go for it. Landon Leo has win call over the middle, and the Raiders are moving the chains. Coach Lloyd loves to see that. He also loves when his team punches it in. It's not Jonathan Millions, it's Jonathan Billions, and the senior fights his way in to put Randolph up 2 scores, and the home team would have one more chance to add on before the break. Leo looking long, and he's got George Newman for the first down, but Kellen Irons brings the medal, forcing the fumble. Landon Shackelford will recover it, and the Wildcats get moving in the other direction, but it wouldn't matter. Westminster Christian would be unable to respond before the break as Will Perkins sacks Houston Scott as time expires, and Randolph goes on to win their first game of the season, taking this one 35-12. Well, we've reached our first water break of the night, but you don't want to go anywhere.
Yeah, headed out to Hazel Green for our rivalry showdown of the week right after this quick timeout.
Stay tuned for more Big Game Friday night. Curry Van and Car Rental, Big Game Friday night.
Welcome back into Big Game Friday night, everyone. There is nothing quite like a rivalry game, and here in Madison County, we've got some great ones.
The Cotton Classic among the best. Buckhorn and Hazel Green have played every year since 1963, but you can kind of throw their records out the window. It's always appointment viewing when these district rivals meet up.
Yeah, that's why it was a clear choice for our rivalry game of the week. So let's send things out to that brand new field at Hazel Green High School, where Paige Meyer has our recap of the Cotton Classic.
Max, Trevor, Hazel Green broke in their brand new turf field tonight just in time for the Cotton Classic against their longtime rivals, Buckhorn High School. Now, after a thrilling start and a tough battle between the two, Buckhorn ended up taking home the trophy this year, 17-14. It's the annual meeting against the district rivals, the Bucks against the Trojans. We start with the home team on the attack, but after a few plays, the throw here ends up in the Bucks' hands with the interception by Dalton Hardaway. Now with the Navy and Gold with all the power, Dijonais Rosario Jr. running the ball here, getting the first down. Working as hard as they can, they're inching their way to the end zone. But a hard tackle here leads to a fumble. And with the players scrambling to get the ball, the red and white finally get it. But wait, Buckhorn's Ibrahim Hall snags the ball, giving the Bucks a chance at redemption. With their eyes on the prize now, Brian Dorotala makes the catch, bringing his team closer to the end zone. That now brings us to the first touchdown of the night, run into the end zone by Rosario Jr. After giving up the first score of the night, the Trojans buckle down on defense. Evan Banks here coming in for the sack. But the scorekeeper didn't have to work very hard after that. Nobody could get anything going in the second quarter. A true stalemate between these two coaches. Buckhorn going into the break with a 7-0 lead. And the Bucks were able to keep it, with the final score ending 17-14.
That was a big win. Our guys thought we handled the adversity really well. There was a hard-fought game. Coach Ferry does a really good job with his guys. They're extremely well coached up. My hat's off to them. But our guys, when the moment, they were able to handle themselves and maximize their opportunities. So I was very proud of them for that. There's definitely a lot of things we got to clean up. The penalties and the mistakes. Definitely there's things that we can fix. We just got to continue to work. Get ready to go. Next week we got another region opponent, so we got to get ready to get after them and hopefully be focused and take care of what we need to do to be successful.
Buckhorn took home the Cotton Classic Trophy this year with their final score being 17-14 to end the night. Reporting in Hazel Green, Paige Meyer, WAAY 31 Sports.
The New Hope Indians are 2-0 for the first time since 2022, looking to stay undefeated at Madison County High School, but the Tigers are ready to light up the Indians. Micah Woodall takes the handoff, and Caleb Harden scoots left, heading toward the New Hope sideline, turns it up, and tumbles into the end zone. 7-0 Tigers. Madison County head coach saying, hey, I like it, do it again, but maybe this time go the other way. And Harden does just that. He's coming right at you. A little easier journey to the end zone for that score, and that might be worth a dance. Sure, why not? Indians trying to figure out how they can get on the board. Lucas Terry doing absolutely everything he can. He probably runs about 25 yards on this play if you count east and west, but it wouldn't matter tonight as the Tigers win this one 27-6.
In 3A Region 8, Collinsville and Whitesburg Christian met in a battle of legendary coaches Jerry Adcock, of course, and Ernie Willingham going head-to-head. Adcock had his Warriors fired up for this one. Second half down 10-7, 4th and 10. Greer Lavelle goes way up top to Graham Williams. Great catch, but he's not done. Get off me. Heads to the end zone, dragging a defender to the pylon. Whitesburg in the lead. Collinsville comes right back. Mason McAteer runs it up and down the field. This one leads to a score. Collinsville back on top to start the fourth. Then the Warriors get stuffed twice inside the 10. On 3rd and goal, Lavelle cuts right, finds a path to the end zone. The Warriors back on top, but in this seesaw game, Collinsville scores late to secure the victory, 24-21. All right, it's time for us to call another quick timeout, but don't touch that remote.
When we come back, we'll give our defensive stars some love. The defensive play of the week coming up right after the break.
Stay tuned for more big game Friday night. Go Rebels!
It's the McCurry Van and Car Rental Big Game Friday night.
We're the Pride of Priceville, and you're watching Big Game Friday Night.
They were awesome over there at Priceville. Great atmosphere. Think about it. 2-8 last year. Not a ton to celebrate, but the fans have stayed loyal. They're getting rewarded with a good football team. I know they lost by 1 point, but still great performance by the Bulldogs. Big turnaround, and I think it's going to continue with Seth Parker.
Yeah, clearly the band not impacted by the score of the game or last season's outcomes.
Yeah, they're awesome. They were great to work with over there. And I like how they always get their lines right on the first try. Maybe I should try that sometime.
It could be fun. But you know what? We've spent so much of our show dedicating the offense plays, touchdowns, long runs, but kind of think we should probably give the defense some love.
It's fitting on a day like this where the game of the week's 8-7. Might as well continue to show defensive players some love. So let's take a look at our defensive play of the week. Actually, not from that game, even though there were a lot of options in that one. We're headed out to the Shoals. Christian Pritchard with a great leaping interception. And then it's about what you do with the return, completely flipping the field there. Does get tackled late on the play, but look at this again. Leaping up to make the interception. Man, that's some high elevation right there. He's been putting in work. Good job to him. Good job for our defensive play of the week for, what is it, week 3? Week 4, technically
well, it's the fourth week of the season, but it is week 3. It's very confusing because of the whole week 0 thing.
Nothing confusing about the capability of him right there. Incredible play. Back out in Florence, it's looking like it might be another one of those years for Mars Hill. Daryl Higgins' squad has dominated every team on their schedule, and tonight they took on a Sheffield team that they blanked 62-0 last season. Now this Bulldog squad did put up 70 in their opener, but they lost by 31 last week, and they quickly got into another huge hole against the Panthers. That means a good chance to get some younger players involved. The freshman Sam Ashley looking like a future star with the long touchdown run. Now the visitors kicking it off up 55-0. But these guys never lay off the gas. Maybe that's the secret to their success. Harrison Chandler with the heads-up play to punch out the ball. Then Bristol Richardson falls all over it. Sheffield able to make a couple plays late. They get an interception on the pass here. But all in all Mars Hill. They look like a state championship contender again as they win 55-8.
All right, well, we've got to take one last time out, but stick with us because we'll check in on some 1A action and Thursday night games right after the break.
Big game Friday night. Go Patriots! We're watching Big Game Friday night.
It's the McCurry Van and Car Rental Big Game Friday Night.
Welcome back to Big Game Friday Night. I think it's time we show our smallest classification some love. What's going on at 1A?
Yeah, let's find out. Out at Fraser Field, Woodville trying to snap a 13-game skid against Spring Garden, and some solid defense will help the cause. The Panthers' pass is picked off by Jonah Sparks, who turns and burns for a very solid return. Woodville now deep in enemy territory, and Caden Franklin is going to step up in the pocket and air it out. In fact, he threw it so far that even our cameraman wouldn't believe it, but Bryson Stegman was there to haul it in for the touchdown. The home team was looking long, not long after. It's Franklin to Sparks, and Jonah catches it at the logo and takes it to the end zone. A long score to give Woodville a 13-0 lead in the first quarter. Spring Garden would put 6 on the board before the break, but they couldn't prevent Woodville from getting the huge win, 41-26.
Of course, not all the good stuff happens on Friday nights. Yesterday, North Jackson and JP2 met at the Joe. Could the Chiefs move to 2-0 in region play as they took on a struggling Falcon squad, and the Chiefs would almost immediately find Pater. Caden Pace sets the pace with a direct snap and all the way to the end zone home free, the senior untouched on the long touchdown trot. Falcons head coach Kevin Grehan not loving that, but it was only going to get worse from there. North Jackson back in the danger zone. This time they hand it to Nick Price, and the price is right when you can score without breaking a sweat like that. The touchdown puts the Chiefs up 14 in the first quarter. Joe Hollis had his squad in control, but he's not content yet. The Chiefs back on the attack. Little touch pass to Pace, and he's back in motion, back to the outside. Then he and Mark Andruski exchange some aggressive face mask. No flags fly. I guess it evens each other out. I don't know if that's actually the rule, but that's what happened on this play. That made it 21-0 in the first quarter. The Falcons would eventually put up 21 of their own, but they still lost by 40 in this one, 61-21, the final from Thursday.
It started in 2015 and it's still going. The nation's longest losing streak resides right here in Huntsville, but Sammy Coates and his squad hit the road last night to try and end it. Out at J.P. Kane Stadium, it's Hartzell and Columbia. The Eagles enter the game with a 94-game losing streak, and they've never beaten the Tigers. Spoiler alert, that wouldn't change. Kane Falciani fools the defender, and Carter Lee hits him in the end zone as Hartzell gets the scoring party started. The Eagles would look to air it out, but that won't work this time. Tremaine Gilbert's pass is picked by Shad Priola, and the Tigers would take over, and it wasn't long before Hartzell was back on the scoreboard. Handoff to Jaheim Pruitt, and he shrugs off the defense, putting them up 3 scores. And for the 95th consecutive game, it just wasn't Columbia's night. Hartzell moves to 3-0 with the 63-0 win. And of course, that'll wrap things up for us. We just want to say a massive thank you to everybody that helps make the show possible, and everybody that's watching us. Thank you for making us your home for high school football.
Now let's watch some top highlights of the week.
You have been watching a special presentation of WAAY 31 Sports.